Hear me well. Sorry for my mic malfunction in my previous stream. I had to delete it, so this is part 2, but actual part 3. I didn't have many viewers. Thank you, my viewer Lena from Lena Маска from California, who told me that my mic wasn't working. Леночка, большой тебе привет в Калифорнию из нашей солнечной жаркой Флориды. Предхеллоуиновской. Слушайте, у нас тут такие страсти. Don't mind my agitated look. I haven't slept very well last night because I went to a concert with my daughter and we came home really late. I didn't have a good night's sleep, but today was the last day of trial of Sarah Boone in the suitcase murder. This is happening in Orlando right now live. I'm watching it on Fox 35 Orlando live. I'm watching this trial for the past 3-4 days, but I've been watching a lot of videos on the topic. I've been making lots of notes and homework about this topic. So today you are discussing life with me and I'm discussing life with you the trial of Sarah Boone in suitcase murder, where she's charged with she's on trial, and the charge is second-degree murder. The possible outcomes could be second-degree murder or manslaughter or culpable negligence. And while we are speaking now on my live stream, the verdict is about to be issued. The verdict has been reached. We're waiting on the jury to come in, and I'm so excited. That took about 1.5 hours to get the verdict. Oh my gosh, the jury has reached the verdict. There are 5 women and 1 man on the jury. Sarah Boone didn't show any remorse. She refused the plea deal. And the jury went back to 7:05 to deliberate. And oh my gosh, the verdict is reached. I hope it's a good sign that she is indeed guilty in second-degree murder. That's my verdict, that she's guilty. I've been watching a lot of materials, a lot of videos in the court, a lot of evidence that prosecution did a very good job. She had like 8 previous lawyers until she started to work with the recent lawyers, and her lawyers tried hard to dismiss and to call the mistrial even when
family of George Torres is now back in the courtroom as well.
Family of George Torres, the mom had a meltdown during showing of the video of him dying in a suitcase. The attorneys of Sarah Boone tried to call case as a mistrial and tried to, find the reason that the mom of the victim was too emotional in the courtroom and didn't behave correctly, and that's why the trial should be called mistrial. But that was a trick that attorneys do. So the verdict is reached. Oh my gosh, we're gonna know the outcome right here with me. We're going to know the outcome right here with me on my live stream. Anyways, if you're not familiar with that case, later on you'll have time to look on YouTube, to look up. It's a very graphic video where Sarah Boone was filming her husband being in the suitcase, pleading her to let him out because he couldn't breathe. And she's been verbally abusing him, and later on she's been beating him with the baseball bat while he was in that suitcase, because he had some injuries from the baseball bat while being in that suitcase. And then she went to sleep, and then in the morning she found him dead in a suitcase. So they keep telling that they were both drunk and they were playing a game of hide and seek. That was her initial statement, that they were playing the game of hide and seek, and he went to the suitcase by himself. So she keeps saying that she found him dead in the morning and he could have died for any reason. She wouldn't understand. And initially when the police come and, you know, they showed the videos from the body cam, she didn't show any, you know, like, she didn't cry, she didn't shed a tear. She if she claimed there was a person she loved, she didn't certainly behave like that, you know, like she loved him and he was deceased. He was just worried more about her Dr. Pepper, asking the detectives to get her Dr. Pepper or something. So they were both drunk, and they had a very toxic relationship. For their relationship was very toxic because they were bums, you know, like, but the defense based its case on the battered spouse syndrome. That means that Sarah suffered the PTSD, and she was previously abused by her boyfriend, and that's why the defense was trying to say it was a case of self-defense and trying to reduce the charge to the manslaughter or even culpable negligence, which caused the death. And for culpable negligence, the people might not even get time in jail. And hopefully she's not going to be acquitted, because like a lot of evidence showed that she was guilty. She was the abuser. And it was very interesting case because I like to hear that you know, the defense had a psychologist, a doctor of science in psychology, and she's been supporting this battered spouse syndrome. But the forensic psychiatrist, which was a witness on the prosecution side, she did not support the theory of the battered spouse syndrome, and she didn't support. She just said that there was not enough information for her to put any diagnosis, like you know, this lady, the forensic psychiatrist, she was for sure putting, like, she was agreeing to alcohol use disorder, but she wasn't agreeing to anxiety disorder. She wasn't agreeing to, she was agreeing that Sarah had trauma, but she agreed she might have suffered from battered spouse syndrome, but in this case, it's not the excuse. It's not the license to kill the person. And prosecution did a very good job showing a lot of videos where Sarah called the police about domestic violence, about George, her boyfriend, being violent. But then when police come, he was you know, he was saying something like, I get hit, and you know, I go to jail. So he kind of expressed that she was abusing him more than he was. But they were both in a very toxic relationship. They were both guilty of domestic violence. But she came across, from those videos that prosecution showed in court, she came across as a very controlling person, bossing him around. Sabri, hello, welcome Sabri, your live stream. We are in Orlando, Florida, and we have this very... Are you ready for the verdict? Any minute we're expecting a verdict for the suitcase murder that happened in Orlando in 2020, and the trial was taking about 6 days, and today juries deliberate for about an hour and a half, and the verdict is about to be published in court. Like this trial, I've been watching this trial, I've been immersing myself in this trial because it's very interesting. It touches a lot of topics of alcohol abuse, of domestic violence, of couples relationship, of people like wasting their lives and getting in trouble because consuming alcohol and not realizing how deadly it could be. They've been drinking and they had 2 bottles of wine, and then they decided to play hide and seek, according to the defendant, Sarah Boone. And then she made a video which you can watch on YouTube. Like, everybody found that video very disturbing. It's very... Hello, Bella. Parli italiano? No parlo italiano. Hello, welcome. No. No. So this case is really interesting because it involves, like, you know, there are 5 women on the jury and 1 man. So I was, and one of the juries is a lady who survived the domestic violence. And in this case, we don't know if she's gonna be on, you know, on the side that Sarah Boone really suffered from the domestic violence, and she was afraid so badly of her boyfriend sitting in the suitcase that, you know, she just went to sleep and she didn't realize that, you know, he's gonna die. So the defense was trying to say it was a accidental death, and prosecution did a very good job saying that no, she was guilty because she was taking a video while he was in the suitcase fleeing and telling her that he couldn't breathe, and instead of letting him out, because it wasn't looking like a game anymore, it was looking like she was verbally abusing him, telling him that, you know, that's how she felt when she was suffocated. So instead of letting him out of the suitcase, she left him there and she went to bed, and in the morning she discovered him dead in the suitcase. So this man was very, you know, like small statue. He was about 100 pounds, so that's why he could fit in the suitcase. They both looked like teenagers, you know, and that's what drugs and alcohol would do to you. They're very skinny. She was like about 100 pounds. My daughter at 15, like, to give you a side note, my daughter is like 105 pounds, and this adult people, the victim was 42, and he weighed 100 pounds, and he was very small stature, so he could fit in a suitcase. At 8:33 we learned that the verdict So the verdict has been reached. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about the verdict. So there are 3 possible outcomes. So the juries did good job. They didn't go away for the weekend. Which country? We're in the United States, Florida, state of Florida, Orlando. So state of Florida against Sarah Boone, who is charged with second-degree murder. There are 4 options: second-degree murder, manslaughter, culpable negligence, or not guilty. And a lot of people online who is watching the same trial, they're voting. Like, there is a poll, they're voting about 74% of people who are voting online think just like I think. It's a second-degree murder. It's like, you know, like unlawful killing of a human being when the second degree wasn't premeditated, but when they showed the video, she wouldn't let him out of the suitcase. It was a strong evidence from prosecution. It was a really strong evidence that she was the abuser, and she wouldn't let him out. She wouldn't save him. So the reasonable thing in the situation like that would be to get a person out of the suitcase, but she left him there and he died overnight. So there was lots of arguments in the court, and what's interesting that Sarah Boone didn't look like like she had a battered spouse syndrome. From all the videos they showed, the guy who died, he looked like a battered spouse syndrome, because he was always so calm when police would come. He wouldn't argue with the police. He would just get himself arrested and take the blame. But she was talking and bossing him around and sending him nasty text messages when he left her. And that's a lot of interesting things in the suitcase, you know. The main thing that why I was interested in it, because the majority of domestic violence, we think that the men are guilty, but this case shows that not only men are guilty in domestic violence, there could be women who are as violent as the men can be. And this case is very interesting. Any minute now we'll see the verdict. And this lady, she showed she showed a lot of victim mentality. She put a show for the court, but looking at her, that she never shed a tear, she didn't even feel sorry for herself being on trial. It feels like it doesn't make sense. If you're a victim of this difficult relationship, you should be sorry for yourself that you are here in court. But all these 6 days she was so emotionless, and that was awful. She looked like an evil to me. And I don't know why I got so fascinated with this case. It was just so heartbreaking to see this video, this huge evidence. And imagine this mom who was in court. She broke down in tears and she got emotional and she ran out of the court. And the defense team, the attorney, used this instead of being empathetic, use this trick trying to name the trial as mistrial to stop the trial. But the judge was really nice. He said, no, that's not the case of mistrial. The mom was just emotional and she left the room. The mom of the victim, the mom of the guy who died in the suitcase. Okay, potential punishment for the second-degree murder is about 20 years, the minimum. 20 and a half years. 20 and a half years is minimum, and maximum sentence is life in prison for the second-degree murder. If it's a manslaughter when it was an accident. 5 men and 5 women and 1 man. So it's that's what they say. It's a positive sign for the prosecution. We're live now. We're live from Central Florida, Orlando. We're discussing the case of Sarah Boone. If you're familiar with the case, please drop me the comment what you think, if she's going to be charged with the second-degree murder. Okay, they're waiting for the judge. When he gets back to the room, they're gonna announce the verdict. But what I'm trying to say, it's very sad. Both of these people were pretty much bums. They were ruining their lives. They were in their early 40s. Sarah, it happened 4 years ago in 2020. So Sarah Boone was 43, and her boyfriend was 42. George, who died, was 42. But they've been drinking and abusing alcohol, and the relationship was very toxic. And you have to leave toxic relationship. You have just to leave. You don't need to come back, because if you keep coming back, something like that might happen in your situation. So just save your life. If you're in a toxic relationship, just run. Don't give it the chance to get it to the very dark place for both parties, because now this lady's life is ruined, and she has an 11-year-old son who lives with her ex-husband. And her ex-husband was telling that when she had this son, she really stopped caring much, and she wanted to party, to go to drink, to the bars, had random men bring into the house, and she was just very, very low low moral person at that point. And when he divorced her, she only could see her son like twice a week. And then she lived with her boyfriend for 3.5 years. But this relationship, she always called the police for domestic violence. The judge just came back to the courtroom, so they're gonna announce the verdict now. So be with me. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure it's gonna be second-degree murder. We're gonna hear the verdict with me.
2603, State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. State, let me get your parents for the record.
State, yes, sure, on behalf of the state. William Jacob, State.
Defense.
James Owens for Ms. Boone. Mr. Harrison's not going to be.
Can you hear?
So she can't go anywhere. I'm just asking. We would like to rise during the jury coming in. I'm asking if there's any way you can take off the handcuffs.
Oh my gosh. The defense team asking to take off the handcuffs during the announcement of the verdict.
There's an issue, which sometimes happens, but that's my position.
Okay. I've been advised by the sheriff that during the reading of the verdict, due to Miss Boone's status as an inmate, their leg irons and the cuffs are to be attached.
She's going to stay seated.
That's fine.
Mr. Beck's going to stay seated.
I would ask for us all to remain seated, and could you remind everybody in the gallery that there should be no emotional reactions.
I was just about to address that, sir. Thank you very much. All right, members of the jury.
Сейчас узнаем.
My understanding, or members of the...
We're gonna know the verdict right now. It's happening right now in Orlando.
I don't know what it's going to be until it's read. If you are unable to contain yourself emotionally...
I cannot contain myself emotionally, but I'm in my own house. I can scream, I can cry. I think she's guilty as hell.
I'm going to ask you politely to excuse yourself at this time.
I'm excusing myself here,
There
Judge.
should not be any emotional outbursts when the verdict is read.
Yeah.
Everybody understand that.
Yeah, no emotional
See everybody
outbursts.
nodding their heads.
Okay, guys, 2 viewers, thank you for being with me this evening. This is such a cool
Defense is
trial.
ready to bring in our jury.
Yeah, they're bringing the jury now. Can you
Everyone
hear?
will remain seated.
Everyone remains seated. They're bringing the jury now. They're bringing the jury now. We're gonna hear the verdict soon. I think she is guilty of the second-degree murder, and she's getting not a life, but she's probably getting like 25 years at least in prison. 25. Oh my god. No way. No way. It was such an interesting case. Don't assume that the men just the abusers. Women can be as much as abusers as the men are. And the Sarah Boone case is the Sarah Boone case is very, very good evidence that the women can abuse and kill their partners as much as men are capable of these crimes.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury? Members of the jury, you may be seated. Thank
It
you.
was so interesting to see how real court works. Not the movie, documentary.
If you could please hand the verdict form to the deputy, please.
Oh my gosh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, 7 people. We're watching, we're hearing the verdict for Sarah Boone.
If you could please publish the verdict.
Publish the verdict. It's happening right now in Orlando court.
Florida, case number 2020 CF 2603, the state of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information.
Yes.
Dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 25th day of October 2024. The form has been signed by the court.
Yes, justice for George.
Juror seat number 1, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror seat number 2, is this your true and correct verdict? Yes, it is. Juror seat number 3, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, she's convicted of second-degree murder.
Juror seat number 5, is this your true and correct verdict? Yes. Juror seat number 6, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
5 women and
Members
1
of our
man.
jury, again, I want to thank you for your time, your sacrifice, and your attention in this matter. I know that we spent almost 2 weeks together, and it was not taken lightly, and I really appreciate the time and effort and sacrifice that you
She's
put into this
emotionless.
case.
She's
I
not
want to
showing
advise
any
you now of the
remorse.
final instruction. Members, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and your consideration in this case.
I knew it. I knew.
I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions
Convicted
that
of
occurred in the jury
second-degree
room,
murder.
except by
Yes.
court order. For many
Yes.
centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult
Yes.
cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work.
Justice
Although
for
you are at
George.
liberty to speak to anyone about your deliberations,
Yes.
you are also at liberty to
Verdict
refuse to
reached.
speak to anyone.
She is
A
convicted.
request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious.
She's emotionless.
From those
This
who
is
might seek to find
crazy.
fault
She
with you.
is
From the media.
emotionless.
attorneys
She's
or
just
elsewhere.
not showing
It
any
will be up to you
remorse.
to decide whether
She's
to preserve
not
your
crying.
privacy as a
She's
juror. With that, members of the jury, again, I thank you for your service. I'm going to ask you return to the deliberation room. I'll be back there shortly with your jury certificates. And thank you.
this is crazy. I knew it. I knew she's gonna be convicted. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You've seen the justice has been served. I have faith in United States justice
Ms. Boone,
system.
the jury has spoken in this matter and has found you guilty of murder in the second degree. The court adjudicates you guilty of murder in the second degree. As this is your first felony conviction, you are entitled to a pre-sentencing investigation by the Department of Corrections. Mr. Owens, are you seeking that in this case?
Yes.
Okay. State, I will order the Department of Corrections to prepare the pre-sentencing investigation. State, for the purposes of sentencing, do you anticipate eliciting any testimony from, be it the victim's family?
2 or 3 victim impact statements, sir.
Okay. Mr. Owens, do you plan on presenting any evidence during the course of the sentencing hearing, sir?
Probably some testimony from Dr. Harper.
Okay. All right.
She is guilty. I knew she was guilty as hell.
How long do you think, State, that you would need?
You mean timing-wise, or are we thinking?
A quantum of time, sir. Yeah, well, normally it takes about 30 days or so. I'm
What a
conferring
wide
with
pressure of
Mia
a
as to
person.
Availability. I just want to know from your side of the ledger, how much time? Okay, 15 minutes. How much time do you think you're going to
Freaking
need to
liar.
produce anything from your side of the ledger,
I am
sir?
so
Mr.
happy
Owens?
that prosecution did a good job with my tax dollars, you know. Good job, Florida prosecutors,
So if we set
Orlando
this for an hour,
prosecutors.
that would be sufficient.
Good job. I'm so proud of you
Is that
guys.
sufficient, Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Okay, all right, give me a moment.
Is he gonna give her sentence? Like, is he gonna say what is the sentence gonna be, or it's gonna be a separate? Oh my gosh, is he gonna tell her? Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for joining my live stream. 4 people. Thank you for joining me this evening. I've been watching this case, like listening to the live streams for the past 4 days. I was fascinated with this case when it's called Suitcase Matter, when 2 drunks were playing hide and seek game, which wasn't a hide and seek game. He pretty much got in the suitcase and she zipped him up, and he was drunk, but when he was trying to ask her to get him out, she was filming. She was filming and laughing.
From her as that
She
verdict
didn't
was
have
read.
any reaction. She has no remorse. she must be a monster. She must be heartless person if she's not showing any remorse. It's very sad that people like that walk among us, you know, like they waste their lives. They waste their lives. They're like a waste of this society, you know. She needs to be locked, and then she's gonna sit life in prison on my freaking tax dollars, you know.
Okay. Defense. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna feed her for the rest of her life in her cell. A lot of people are laughing in comments. They say instead of a cell, she should have a suitcase for a cell.
Ma'am, you've been adjudicated guilty. I now remand you in the
They
custody
show family of horror.
sentencing on December 2
George.
at 1:30. State anything else we need to
He's
address.
somebody's son, and his mom is still alive, and his daughters are there. That's so sad.
You saw at the end there a shot of the family of George Torres in that front row where they have sat for hours today.
So sad to see the family
at one
there.
point, the mother of George Torres had to leave.
She had
overcome with
nobody,
emotion
and
while watching the
her
cell phone
family is not
video that
there.
showed her son, George, in his final moments inside that suitcase. As we now know, he suffocated to death.
Okay.
And Sarah Boone, who was recording that video on her cell phone, now convicted of
Yes,
second-degree
she was
murder
recording that video.
for killing him. She is still sitting at the table. She is shackled. She has her handcuffs on. She is speaking with her attorney, James Owens. Her ninth
She has no
attorney
remorse.
in the past 4 years.
She
At
has
one
no
point represented
remorse.
herself.
She's a monster. I'm telling you.
Cacciatore walking out. Will J still at that table.
She's a
James Owens
freaking
continues to
monster.
confer with
She
his
needs
client.
to. Rotten.
Guilty of second-degree murder, getting ready to be remanded into custody, and she will be sentenced on Monday, December 2nd.
Okay, and so she's gonna be sentenced
Faces
on Monday,
between 20 and a half years in prison
December 2nd.
to life in prison.
20 years
You
to
can see the
life.
bailiff walking up to her. Defense attorney Kevin Beck there packing
Okay.
up his things.
Oh, okay.
No more sound coming from our pool feed inside the courtroom.
Okay, guys. Yeah, I turned off the sound for the reporter on Fox 35 Orlando News. Whew, I need to drink some water. In my book, justice has been served, and I made a lot of notes that people can, no matter how they look, like she looked like a young teenager, you know, like that what drugs and alcohol will do to you. She was tiny and skinny. But no matter how people look and how they pretend to be a victim, they can very much be an abuser. And in this case, this poor guy, you know, like he, at first probably he thought they were playing, but imagine dying in a suitcase from a person you keep coming back to. And, you know, a lot of relationships when women or men are so attached to their partners and they keep forgiving, I think you should grow some skin. Stop being forgiving. If you're getting abused by your partner, just leave, you know. Just leave, because you never know what kind of freaky accident can happen when, you know, it's a bad toxic relationship and alcohol doesn't help. I don't know why this case just touched me so badly. I don't know any families, and we don't have any family members of, you know, like of this type of toxic relationship. But you know, this people were like going back and forth together, and the guy kept coming back, you know, because usually it's the girl who keeps coming back. Like, that's kind of like what they say, like mostly women keep coming back, giving the man second chance. But in this case, this poor guy, George, was coming back even if she was really mean to him. He kept coming back, and he kept coming back because I don't know, because he was codependent, because he was alcoholic too, because he didn't have self-esteem, because he was using her debit card, he didn't have a stable job, So I don't understand how people can waste their life like that, being in such a crazy environment, having nasty relationships and abuse of alcohol. I don't know. The life is too short, people. Get up from your butt, go use something, go use help, go to rehab, get rid of your bad habits and addictions. Find a better person in you, before you get to in a relationship. If you improve yourself, if you better yourself, I think you have a better chance to find a good, healthy relationship, So this case was just, I don't know why I was so worried that she can be acquitted, that would be, and it's very interesting how hard both parties have to work, how hard the prosecution have to work, and how hard the defense has to work. And what fascinated me was that defense had this lady who was a very educated psychologist, and she had a doctor of psychology degree. So she wasn't in the medical field. She was a psychologist, which a very separate thing from psychiatrist. And on what I liked, that the lady who was witnessing yesterday, she was on prosecution side, and she was experienced psychiatrist, and she was forensic psychiatrist. It's where the psychiatry intervene with laws, and she can give an expert advice, go into court. And in this case, I was fascinated with this lady psychiatrist. She stayed so calm, and the defense team was trying to trap her, trying to put words in her mouth, trying to tell that she gave a different opinion during the disposition, and now she's given a different opinion in the court. So they were trying to fight her, but why I liked her, because even being very experienced, knowledgeable, and what I liked, because she worked in University of Florida, which is in Gainesville, which is one of the best universities in Florida. So I can tell she's very experienced specialist. But even though with all her knowledge, she was so accurate not to give the diagnosis. Like, they were pushing for this diagnosis, like narcissistic personal disorder or something. And she would say, no, Sarah had some traits of narcissistic disorder, but she didn't have a disorder. Everyone can have traits of somewhat of a disorder, but in order to be diagnosed, and they both, like psychiatrists and psychologists, they both use the same manual. I buy it for our library every year, because every year they have a renewed edition. It's called DSM-5. And this DSM-5, it's like a Bible. It's issued from, and it's called Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Psychotherapy. no, of psychiatric, and it's issued by the Psychiatric Association, something of the states, or psychiatric. But anyways, they both use the same manual, and they refer to the manual, and they keep saying you can't just diagnose the person with some disorder if all the criteria are not met. And I really learned a lot from the psychiatrist lady, because she was so firm in her answers. She wasn't wishy-washy like a psychologist, which gives me the idea when you're a psychiatrist and you're more exposed to knowledge of medicine, and you understand the knowledge of medicine, and you practice according to the knowledge of medicine, it's a lot more important to be careful about about diagnosing people. I think we have a lot of coaches and psychologists and coaches and counselors this day who have no clue about how and what they say to their clients. So I only trust the people who had extensive experience with like not like being coach, that you get your knowledge from internet. Like you have to have a classical education, and then you have many years of practice, seeing a lot of people in different situations and giving your expert opinion in the circumstances. So this lady, what I liked about her, that she was not, giving her opinion on a certain disorder, because she said she only spoke once with the defendant, and she said she didn't have enough information to form the opinion, and that was helpful for the prosecution, but it was not helpful for defense, because defense was trying to build the case that Sarah had suffered from battered spouse syndrome, and that's why she thought that George is a threat that night, and that's why she wouldn't open the suitcase to get him out, because she thought, like the defense was explaining, that Sarah thought that if she let him out of the suitcase, he'll kill her. And she would testify like, I was afraid of him, blah, blah, blah. But when the prosecution showed more evidence how she behaved, the evidence on the camera, like when you call the police for domestic violence and they come to your house, they all have body cam, and everything you say in any case of domestic violence will be recorded, and later on it can be used anywhere. Like we see, it can be used in the court against you. So whatever you blah 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 there, when she called the police about domestic violence, most of the cases they would come and they would grab the guy, and they would take him and put him to court. And one time he said, like, why she hits me, but I end up in jail. So like he said that, and later on it looks like it looks like it worked against him. He, instead of just leaving her, he kept coming back, and he claimed he loved her. My chat has stopped. Do I have viewers? Welcome to my live stream. I'm Kate B. I don't know why I'm so emotional. I'm very tired. I'm going to bed. Tomorrow is the weekend. My daughter has a project, so we are meeting another classmate and her parent at PetSmart, and the girls have a project. They have to do something at the PetSmart store. So yesterday I took my daughter to a concert, and I wanted to talk to you about the concert a little bit, but today I'm not. Like, I'm so I don't know, I was so immersed in this case. I don't know why it touched me so hard. I don't know. I just want to tell anybody, just take good care of yourself. If you see somebody is not nice to you, just leave, you know. You never know how bad of a freaky accident can happen. Imagine a guy in a suitcase. I even like a couple of days ago when I started to dig about this case and when I started to study it, my husband was going on a trip and we came back from the cruise, so we had those few suitcases in the closet and we had them, and I keep telling him I was trying to fit in a suitcase and it was funny because that suitcase wasn't big, but I still, you know, I was so overthinking about what was going on in this case, and I just lost some weight, so I'm about 128 pounds, and that guy who fit in the suitcase and who was in the video, and imagine like this video being watched of a man, you know, last probably hours of his life in a suitcase. So I was trying to get in the suitcase and I couldn't, you know, and I thought to myself, maybe I'll go to the closet and bring a bigger suitcase, and I'm pretty sure I can fit in a bigger one. And then like I just tried to, you know, imagine how of a freaky situation it could be, how far people go when they're drunk to do something like idiotic like that, to sit in a suitcase and get zipped up at their own will and then be trapped by your partner who you love. Like it's unimaginable. So my husband laughs and he said, don't worry about it, you don't fit in a suitcase. And I'm like, yeah, thank you for telling me that. Whether you're telling me I'm too fat or whether you're telling me you would never do it to me, you know. So it was funny conversation. It was like a little sarcastic and a little like weird, like black humor. So, but imagine like I was so, and I was thinking like, that guy, when they started to show other videos when she called police and they would come, the policeman would be like 3 times bigger than that guy. So that guy looked like a seven graders, you know, some 7th graders are bigger than that guy, poor Jorge guy who died in a suitcase. So like the suitcase was just a regular like big luggage that you check in. And if you find it, it's called Suitcase Murder. It's all over there. It's all over YouTube. I promise you, you need to watch that video. So I don't know. I was just so touched and so impressed because like I live here in this Orlando area, and we had this case like many years ago when I was working at the
off the record, so.
When I was working in the cafeteria long time ago, in like 2009 or 2008, when we had the case of Casey Anthony, when the little girl was lost and then she was found dead and her mom was going through trial, and I kind of believed that she was guilty, but she was let out, Casey Anthony. And I thought to myself, like, come on, people, you have to do a better job on the taxpayers' money. Like, prosecution should do a better job, you know, giving justice. So that's why I'm very satisfied with the verdict today. I think the prosecution was able to provide very good solid evidence and videos, and like picturing the character of Sarah Boone, picturing the situation, telling the jurors to kind of like pay attention to, you know, how she behaved other, you know, like on the camera with the police. And again, when they released the 911 call, when she called in the morning, when she called, well, it wasn't even the morning. She woke up, and then it was like, by the time she found him dead in a suitcase, it was 12 o'clock during the day. So she called 911, and they were trying to tell her to give him a CPR, and I think she talked, she sounded such a white privileged bitch, you know. She sounded so mean. I cannot imagine if the person who you loved would be dead, you would be hysterical, emotional, like heartbroken. And when the police showed up, all she cared about her freaking drink, Dr. Pepper or something. And like, if you would dig into that case, if you would be interested in that case and watching some other videos of that case, I would highly recommend you to, you know, watch this trial, like day 1, day 2, day 3. It could be like hours and hours, but you can skip and just find the interesting videos, like the clips, because, you know, the clips of every segment of the trial will be on, you know, will be on that channel that reported that case. And I'm sure a lot of criminal bloggers will, you know, will discuss this case many times. But because it's happening right here in my town, and it's happening like right today, I'm like in the middle of this event pretty much. I wanted to come online and I wanted to let it out, and I wanted to listen the verdict with you. I think it was really good idea, and I kind of like, I'm exploring different topics, how to make my channel interesting, and, you know, what my viewers like to view on my channel. And, you know, I'm a person that I'm interested about, you know, cruises, travel, clothes, you know, like makeup. And on the other hand, I'm very interested in criminal cases, because when I was a kid, I loved to read detectives more than any, like, not like any love novels, or, you know, some romantic novels or something like that. I love detectives. I love like something with criminal stories. So it's my morbid part, I guess, my dark part. So that's it. Thank you for being with me. What else I wanted to tell you? I think I need some rest. I need to sleep well. And maybe tomorrow I'll come and I'll tell you a good story about my cruise with my husband last weekend. And I also wanted to tell you a little more about the concert. We went with my daughter, and my feelings about this concert and my feelings about this artist, Sabrina Carpenter, because I went through a lot of different like stages during that concert. Like, do I like her? Do I not like her? And do I like this, you know, culture, this, you know, kids culture these days? So I felt like an old lady complaining, but I'll tell you about. And then please watch my videos with my cruise and with my other, you know, like what I show. Tomorrow my special gift is coming in the mail, and I'm very excited. It's actually supposed to come today, but I wasn't home to sign for it, so I'm going to the post office and I'm gonna pick it up. I have a special gift. So that's what I'm gonna talk tomorrow, maybe in my live stream. So come talk to me about cruise, ask me questions. And I was so excited. Me and my husband could go. We had a blast, and I was just tired this week. I don't know. And I'll just keep you updated about my weight loss, or should I say weight gain. Yes, I'm gaining weight because I stopped taking my semaglutide injections. I only been on injections for 4 months, and I was able to lose 26 pounds, but I gained about 4 pounds back, and I'm not happy about it. I'm really upset about, you know, gaining the weight back. And I'm eating more, I'm craving sugars, and that's why I have mood swings. And it's life. I guess I have to find the solution to that. But I need to go to bed because I'm really tired. And before I go to bed, I need to pick up my kid from school. So hopefully I can pick her up soon, maybe by 10, because I'm really tired. And tomorrow plan to be with me on my live stream. But in the meantime, please watch my videos. You don't have to watch the whole video. Just watch a little bit. Just get a peek of this second largest cruise ship in the world. It was so fascinating to see. Utopia of the Seas. All colors, all cultures, all artists. like mixture of cultures, mixture of art, mixture of, you know, industry, and mixture of like travel, and it was just a fascinating ship, mixture of entertainment, food. It was amazing. So I can talk for hours about this cruise, and I'm going to talk to you tomorrow in my live stream. I hope it's going to be more positive than today's live stream because of this criminal case. But again, you know, I want to be a vlogger who has many sides, many shades of pink and gray and blue and black, you know, so many colors. I want to be a person, a blogger, an honest blogger of any color, of any mood, of any interest, of any, you know, like story. And I'm here just for you to practice to be a good vlogger. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy the process. Thank you, my viewers, for stopping by. I love you all. Have a good weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. I promise I'm gonna put more makeup and look a little more presentable. But I think it was a good live stream because I was able to arrange to be, you know, right there in the moment of the verdict. Thank you so much. Love you all. Good night, Kate B. Thank you for supporting my channel. Love you all.